My mom called while I was in the middle of making my video. I love you, Mom. I don't. If y'all could see the way that I have this camera set up, it's like very fragile and it's gonna fall, so maybe I should have been an engineer in another life. Also, there's this weird glare in my glasses that I can't get to go away no matter where I have set up the camera, so it's just gonna be like that. But anyways, hi. I haven't made a video in a hot minute, and that's just because recovery is hard, y'all. It's been rough. You might notice that I am not outside in the rain anymore, and that is because I stepped onto PHP officially this Tuesday. Don't know how I did that with my arm. So like we discussed, that means that I go to programming during the day, and then I have evening hours by myself, and I stay by myself. So I'm in an undisclosed location now, and that is what's up. But the transition's been kind of hard, just because of going from having so much structure throughout the day, you know exactly what you're doing exactly when, to having this kind of unstructured, free-flowing, figure it out part of it, and I've just been struggling, full disclosure. I've been super emotional. Also, my dietitian is transferring to another treatment center within the same company, I guess, and so I've been going through that transition as well the same week, so it's been rough. But I do have a really cool video for you guys today. I think it'll be really helpful, and so yeah, let's get to it. So we have this thing on Saturdays called COS, which means Community of Support, and that is a group where families can come in and be with their loved ones and ask questions and talk about, you know, get educated on things that they may not know. And so this past Saturday, our group was all about what are things that are not helpful to say to your loved one who's struggling, and maybe some ways to reframe it to say something that still has the same intention but maybe is worded better. And then we also have, I wrote down a lot of things that support members, like family members and loved ones, had asked, because I thought, well, if they're asking it, maybe other people are wondering it as well. So I have a list here, and I'm just kind of go through some stuff. These are just my thoughts and opinions. Everybody is different. Everyone's eating disorder is not the same, and your loved one may not react the same way that I do, so please take this with a grain of salt. Okay, so not helpful on why. You look so healthy. Okay, this is a comment that you would make when you see your loved one in recovery, and you may think, wow, they look so much better. They looked so sick before, and now they look good. And the intention behind this is not to make the person with the eating disorder feel bad about themselves. The intention is to compliment them and maybe try to say, you know, I'm proud of you and you're doing great, or you are, you know, I'm happy to see you. And for some reason, and I do this is like a personal experience of mine, and I have a lot of friends with eating disorders who will say the same thing. You look so healthy. The eating disorder takes that and twists that into you look fat, or you've gained so much weight, or something along those lines. And even though you are totally well-intentioned and you mean so well and you just want to be all supportive and proud, your loved one is hearing, oh, so you think I'm fat now. And that is hard, because then you're like, why are they upset? What did I do? I was just being nice. And you can have some not so good outcomes of that. So a couple things that I wrote to say instead of you look so healthy are, It's so good to see you. And basically that's all you need to say. I wouldn't refrain from making comments on their appearance at all, especially if you're watching this and you're somehow connected with me. I would not say, wow, Sarah, you look so healthy, you look so... Even saying you look so good, it's hard to explain how that gets twisted in my head, but it somehow equates to you've gained weight and you're fat, and those are not good things to hear, even though that's not what you're saying. So yeah, let's move on. Oh, this one has personally happened to me. When you're in recovery, you have a meal plan, right? And your meal plan might be very high, meaning you might have a lot of exchanges at each meal and snack, and that is because you're weight restoring and you're trying to get back to the weight that your body wants to be at. And so your dietitian, it's up to their discretion, you know? And I've been on phone calls or texts where I've complained about how much I have to eat, and I'm like, this is so much. And in trying to validate me, my loved one or my friend will say, oh yeah, that is a lot of food. And that's just not helpful because I know. And my thing is, I don't want to eat at all. So when I'm eating, if you could just not comment on the amount I'm eating ever, that would be great. I don't really have like an alternative to say. Just don't talk, don't, you know, if I complain about the food, say, I'm sorry this is hard for you, or I know this is really hard for you, and that's all you really have to say about that. So, okay. This is something I wrote down that's like an interaction that I've had. So I would say, man, I really hate my body. And this is kind of just like the healthy, you look healthy thing, but it's a little bit different. And I've had someone say to me, but you look better now. And that's, just don't comment on the way people look, okay? I mean, really, as a society, we shouldn't be doing that anyway, because I am not the way I look. And I don't believe that at all, but I just said that to try to make myself believe it. But yeah, just try to stay away from comments about weight, about body shape, about you look so strong, you look good, you look better now, because then I'm gonna think that I looked bad before, and then I am going to, which I may have, you know, because maybe I was underweight, or maybe I wasn't, and I'm just very hyper aware of my body, so if you say anything about my body, it's probably not gonna end well. Oh, okay, this is something that I talked about with my parents, so shout out to mom and dad. So the problems, we've had a lot of problems with communication in the past, and that is because we simply don't know how to talk to each other. And we figured out this time through family therapy, which I recommend, even though you might hate it. We figured out in family therapy that when I was at school and my mom would call me and be like, how are you? She was really wanting to know everything about how I was, but I was interpreting that as, you know, a general, how are you? Like people, you know, just walking down the street like, hey, how are you? Good, how are you? And I just thought that's what she meant, and I never thought she was asking about my food intake, or if I had used behaviors that day, or anything like that, or if I was struggling. And so I always just assumed that they didn't care, or that they didn't want to know how I was doing, and so I didn't talk about it. And what we realized is that how are you is simply just too vague of a question. So I have put a couple things that you can ask instead, which is specific questions, like if we're having a serious conversation, like if you call me and you want to know how I'm doing, call me and ask me like, hey, did you eat today? What did you eat today? Some people don't like that, but I do. I like to be specific because it helps me, keeps me accountable, and it feels like you care. Did you struggle today? Was anything hard? How did you feel about meeting your exchanges today? These are just general questions that are still more specific than how are you, and still more effectively get across the message that you care. And then, let's see, I lost my page. If you do not have an eating disorder and you have never had an eating disorder, please do not ever tell your loved one that you understand, because you don't. Okay? You don't. And I know you can learn as much as you want, and I really advocate for that. I say, people, educate yourselves on eating disorders, because you don't know the half of it, and it is not about food. And I'm gonna preach about that another time, but you don't understand. That's as simple as it is. So please don't say that you do, because it's very lonely up here, and to hear someone who's never gone through what I've gone through say, I understand you, makes me kind of feel like crap, because I'm like, no, you don't. Why would you say that? And I know you're trying to help, but it's really invalidating. Okay. At a meal, if I am struggling, something that my mom did actually when they came to visit was she just said, what do you need me to do? And that left it open for me to make up my mind as if I wanted distraction, if I needed to talk, if I needed to step away, and that was really helpful. Now, some people might not find that helpful. Some people might need direction. They might be too lost in their head to say what they need or even know what they need at the time. And so if your loved one is struggling, you might ask them, what do you need me to do? And if they don't know, I would offer that you would try to distract them and tell a funny story or a joke or just something to like get them out of their head. Or if you know your loved one is like more serious and just finds that like not helpful, maybe asking if they need to talk about it or what specifically is going on in their head. What are you thinking about? You know, what's going on in your head? Or some people ask, you know, what is Ed saying? And people refer to eating disorders as Ed. I don't. I mean, I shorten it to ED because it's easier, but yeah. Okay. This is a question I've gotten before from someone whom I love very much, and it is just not a good question. I love you. Should I make you eat or no? Don't do that. Okay. I need to eat. I need to follow my meal plan. If I'm with you and it is time that I should eat, I have to eat. If you don't want to hurt my feelings, or if you're afraid that you might say the wrong thing by asking me or telling me that it's lunchtime or it's time to get a snack, eating disorders are so strong, and if you give me the option, I'm always gonna say no. Just especially if I'm struggling. I mean, maybe if I'm doing really well, but this is just a question that I got when I was really struggling, so it was hard because of course I would say no. So I think something you can say instead of should I make you eat right now is, hey, let's go get lunch. Instead of saying something like maybe your family's all together, instead of seeing the time and being like, oh, Sarah has to eat, you probably want to say, hey, let's get dinner, because everybody has to eat, not just me, but I know you mean that I need to eat, because meal plan following is very important. But just say, make it not so pinpointed at me, like Sarah needs to eat right now, so we gotta go. I just feel kind of like like a burden, and I don't like that. So those are all the things that I have, and then I just have some things that people asked during the group that I think are valid and helpful. And so if you're a support member, these are things that came from other support members. Okay. This person said they wanted to ask their loved one what they ate today, but they didn't know if that was okay. and the responses from us, the patients, and also from the therapist were try to make it more specific, like I had mentioned earlier. Did you meet all of your exchanges? Did you struggle? Those are helpful. Someone said, I'm afraid I'm pushing too hard. I think that is a conversation that you need to have with your loved one. You need to ask them, because if you're in recovery and you're doing the hard things, sometimes you know when you're being pushed too hard, and I think maybe you're afraid to say that, hey, like, you're pushing me too hard, I can't handle it. But I think that's a conversation that your loved one, you need to have with them and tell them, these are my limits, this is what I can do at this time, because then it takes the pressure off you and you're not pushing too hard, you're doing what they're telling you they need, and that's amazing. How long is this going to take? Yikes, don't ask that. I'm sorry, that's very invalidating. I feel like okay, so the video cuts out, so I just wanted to end it. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for listening. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please share it to spread the word, to stop the stigma around eating disorders and just get the conversation going. If you're a loved one and you found this helpful, let me know. If you have someone in your life who struggles with an eating disorder and you found this helpful, let me know, share it, and please subscribe to my channel, and I just wish you the best of luck with your recovery.